Okay.
Hi, I'm Theodoret. That is true. Right back. Hi, I'm Theodoret, and normally I play the bass. However, for this project, I decided that I would learn to play the cello. I thought it was a good way to improve my musical skills and learn a new instrument.
Are we done?
I'm going to try one with microprocessors and program logic.
Okay. It's still rolling.
I know. Hi, I'm Theodoret. I normally play the bass, but for this project, I decided that I was going to learn to play the cello. I thought it would be a good way to improve my musical skills and learn a new instrument. The cello is different from the bass in many ways. For one thing, the cello is obviously smaller. Also, the bow that I use for the bass is a different shape from the bow that I use for the cello. For the violin, viola, and cello, there is only one type of bow that you can use, the French bow. However, for the bass, there are two types of bows that you can choose from, the French bow and the German bow. For the bass, I use a German bow, which is held like this. And for the cello, I use a French bow, which is held like this. Learning to play the cello with the new type of bow was difficult at first, but I got the hang of it after a while. Another big difference between the two instruments is their strings. On a bass, the strings go from lowest to highest, E, A, D, G. However, on a cello, the strings from lowest to highest are C, G, D, A. This means that bass strings are separated by fourths, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, D, E, F, G. And on a cello, the strings are separated by fifths, C, D, E, F, G, G, A, B, C, D, D, E, F, G, A. This means that it is easier to play double stops and higher notes on the cello, which makes it a good way for me to expand my musical playing range. Now that I've told you the differences between the cello and the bass, my old instrument and my new instrument, I'd like to go over how I went about learning to play the cello. I remember the first day that the personal project was explained to us, mostly because I was sick that day and missed school. So, during the next advisory, I was given the short version. The personal project is a project that sophomores complete in advisory from September until March. For the project, each student must complete a task. This task could be anything, from building a boat, to reading a book, to learning a new skill. We were told that we should choose something that was meaningful to us and could fit under one of the global contexts. I immediately knew that I would probably like to pursue something that had to do with music. Fast forward to the first few weeks of 10th grade. I now know what the personal project is and have decided on a task. I'm going to learn to play the cello. I have already played the bass since 4th grade, so I know a lot about music. However, I wanted to expand my musical skills. Learning to play the cello would be a good way to do this, because I would be learning an instrument that is in the same clef, but has completely different finger patterns and a wider playing range. While learning to play the cello would not be as hard as learning to play the violin or the bagpipes, it would provide a significant challenge for me to complete. Now that I had a broad category for my personal project, I decided that I wanted to set a more specific goal. At first, I thought that I might want to build a cello and then learn to play it. However, I decided that that would take too long and I should set a more reasonable goal. In the end, I decided to learn to play a modern piece of music that one would not expect to hear from the cello. The purpose of this is to show that string instruments are not only for playing pieces of music written by some guy who wore a wig and died a long time ago. Now that I had set a more specific goal for my personal project, I had some planning to do. The first part of this was to find some resources that I could use to learn to play the cello. I could go to my cello playing friends, and I could go to my bass teacher and ask him for some cello etude books. If neither of these worked, I would be able to look online and find some cello playing videos and tutorials to learn the basics. Also, who can forget the cellophant in the room? I didn't have a cello, so I needed to find one of those. So that was the first thing I did. One Thursday, I went to Mr. Reed and asked him if I could borrow a cello to use for my personal project throughout the year. He said go ahead. However, it was hard to find a good time for me and my friend to meet, so I knew that I would not be able to rely on him for learning the cello basics. So, as one might expect, I turned to the most reliable and up-to-date source that a teenager can think of: the internet. I was greatly successful. I was able to find many tutorials on learning to play the cello. I chose one of them and began to learn to play. Over the next few months, I worked on my project by practicing. The only way that one can improve on a skill is by practicing. I downloaded 2 diagrams to help me learn where to place my fingers to produce the right notes. These were helpful when I started practicing because they helped my hands get used to playing each note. In February, right after the second semester began, I decided that I was going to play I'm Gonna Be by the Proclaimers. I found the sheet music online, bought it, and then printed it. The music was a good difficulty for me. It was not too easy, however, it was easy enough that I could read it and understand it. By choosing this piece, I had a final product that was achievable but still challenging. When I started playing my final piece of music, I started off playing it slowly, bit by bit. This helped me learn the notes I was playing and get my fingers used to playing the piece correctly. While playing, I did not focus on the rhythm of the piece. I focused on the intonation of each note to make sure that the piece sounded in tune. Later in my practicing, I began to put the piece together, working on the rhythm and making the piece sound like it was supposed to. The slow practicing that I did in the beginning helped me out later when I was working on the tune. It helped make the piece sound like it was supposed to. After having completed the final product, I think it turned out well. My playing sounds like the actual song and it looks good. I think that if I had started filming earlier, it would be slightly better. However, I think that what I have created sounds excellent. I have learned a lot by completing the task that I set for myself. I learned to play the cello, I expanded my musical playing, range, and skills, and I have learned some new pieces of music that will be fun to play in the future. As for the global context I chose, personal and cultural expression, I feel that I have used this product as a way to learn a new way of expressing myself. This is what the global context is all about. How do we, as human beings, express ourselves? One answer to this is music. Music is a way to convey our emotions without speaking and share our culture and ideas with others. Music has been created since the beginning of the human race. It can bring us together as one collective people, or it can be a good thing to entertain us. That being said, here is the final product of my personal project. Enjoy!